stone pony, don't ride Shelley no more. When you give me my pony, hooked to my rider's door. Well, Vicksburg, my pony, Greenville is my man. Pittsburgh, my pony, Greenville, Lordy, is my great man. Well, you give me my pony down in Lula town somewhere. Well, I got me a stone pony, don't ride Shelley no more. Got me a stone pony, don't ride Shelley no more. And I can't feel welcome no matter where it is I go. Well, Pittsburgh on a high hill, Natchez just below. Touching on high hill, mama, Natchez just below. And I can't feel welcome no matter where it is I go. Well, I didn't come here to steal nobody's brow. Steal nobody's brown. And I stand by here, well, to keep you from stealing mine. Hello, Central, what's the matter with your line? Central, matter with your line. Came a storm at night and tore this wire down. Alright, that was the famous Stone Pony Blues by Charley Patton, and a complete masterpiece, and easily the most complicated, most complex song to feature out of this new ebook release, Charley Patton Songs in Standard Tuning. Alright, so this song in particular, I worked on this book 2 months, and this song took me 1 month to transpose. This is how difficult it was. Alright, so thanks again for tuning in. We are rolling out these songs almost on a daily basis just to get it out there so that everything is out there and my ebook is out there. If you haven't already, definitely check out the link in the information settings, a link to the ebook itself. The ebook covers 14 songs of Charley Patton's work, only in standard tuning, so no slide guitar this time around, although I am working on another book focusing only on his work and the slide guitar. But nonetheless, this book is an absolute masterpiece, covers 14 songs across 99 pages. It's a definite must. It will make you a better guitar player, I promise. I've learned Charley Patton myself. I've become better just by going through these songs. And also, when you follow along in the lesson, it's good to have the ebook in front of you, because this is exactly what I'm using to explain all of these lessons. Alright, so to begin, as always, an acoustic guitar will do for now in playing along. I always advocate for using plastic finger picks to execute the fingerstyle motions. A prerequisite to watching any of my videos is learning how to fingerstyle, watching the beginning fingerstyle picking volumes 1 through 4. Those are a definite must. It talks about the techniques needed to be utilized in going through all these lessons. I will utilize these methods throughout all the lessons, especially at Charley Patton. He uses the fingerstyle traditions pretty much over and out. Another thing that you need to have handy with you, and is really important if you wanted to follow along with Charley Patton and the original recordings, as well as the other artists, is a capo. Now, Charley Patton most likely would not be playing in E standard tuning. He'll have a capo either on the first, second, or third frets. So Stone Pony Blues, although it is in the key of E, Charley Patton has the capo positioned on the first fret to bring it up into standard F tuning instead of standard E. And furthermore, let's talk about the tuning for Stone Pony Blues. So the last two lessons I talked about Charley Patton tuning a semitone up from standard tuning. So that means right now we're tuned in E standard tuning. So what you're going to do is you're going to tune your guitar a semitone towards F so that you're halfway in between E and F. So if you had a tuner, usually you want the dial dead center. Well, a semitone up means the dial is now going to go to the farthest right slant. And that's where we need to be. Stone Pony Blues is tuned as semitone up. So if you wanted to go back and play along with Charley Patton, that's important that you have that. Otherwise, you're going to be off kilter. All right? So for the purposes of learning, I don't mess around with the capos. I like to do everything in standard E tuning so it's clear, so the capo is not confusing where you need to be on the frets. So right now I want you to tune to me. I'm actually tuned to E plus standard tuning. So standard E tuning with the semitone adjustment. So my top string is going to be an E plus. So go ahead and string that on your end. My fifth string is going to be an A plus. My fourth string a D plus. My third string a G plus. My second string a B plus. My bottom string an E plus. So go ahead and play an E chord. So now that we've got that semitone built into there, if you wanted to go play along with Charley Patton, you would take the capo, put it on the first fret, and you would be in tune. You'd still be in the key of E, but you would be in tune with the original recording. Alright, so we talked about tuning, we've established that, and also what we need to establish is just a quick rundown of how the right hand should appear. So you have the outer lining of the palm of your hand rested gently about the strings. The thumb is jutting out and resting over the fifth string. The index and the middle finger are going to be your little finger pickers, concentrating on the first, second, and third strings. And then the thumb is going to fluctuate, play the alternating bass patterns on the sixth, fifth, and fourth strings. And then the index and middle finger are going to play the bottom three strings. So when you have it in conjunction together, you have the finger style tradition. So I talk about this in my beginning finger picking style volumes 1 through 4. You definitely need to check that out. So, alright, so we've got that laid down. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the song. This is going to be a really long lesson. So kind of brace yourself. But once we get over this lesson, everything else will be smooth sailing. So let's take a little break. Thanks. Alright, so now let's take a look at the introduction to Stone Pony Blues. It's a pretty straightforward intro. It's just strums, soft strums of the E major chord with the key bass note breaking up the two measures. And it's going to sound like this. Something along that measure. I'll play it one more time. Alright, so you start off with the top string open and then play 4 strums of the E major chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then top string open, play the E chord one more time. You just kind of go into there with the E major chord, and then what you'll do is break up these two measures by playing the 5th string 2nd fret. And this is going to be really important note to reset the timing in a lot of parts. to follow. But he plays this to reset the measures. He plays that, and then he goes back into strums of E. So when you put it together from the beginning, it's like this. E major chord, bass note, play the top string open. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bass, top string. Pretty straightforward. Again, it's this bass combination. And this is going to be crucial to get down pat. You're going to see a lot of it further on in the song. Alright, so now this next part is kicking off the first stanza. This is the first verse, and it's going to sound like this. I got me a stone pony, don't ride chillin' no more. Alright, so when you put it together, the intro leads into it. I got me a stone pony, don't ride chillin' no more. You start the singing, I got me, the lyrics I got, is still happening while you're phasing out the introduction. So I'll kind of explain where that appears. I got, you're still in the strumming those E major chords. I got. Alright, so and then to kick off this lick, which sounds like this. So this is a typical blues lick played in the key of E, for music written in E, I should say. And it's pinching the bottom string 7th fret and then the 2nd string 8th fret together with the thumb and the index finger. Very popular lick heard throughout a lot of this music. Alright, so that's what he's doing there. But in order to lock in this lick, he leads into us by this sort of sliding bass run, which sounds like this. Alright, and to do this, you locate the 5th string 2nd fret, and you slide it all the way down to the 10th fret. Or slide it to the 10th fret or 7th fret. Doesn't really matter. The point is you go from the 2nd, slide all the way into around the 7th or 10th fret, and then you finish it with the top string open. 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's what he does to lock in this lick. And the top string is going to ring. It's going to ring over like a whole note rest as you play the licks. Right? So once you lock in this bass run, here he starts to play this lick about 5 times, or however you hear it in the original recording. So that first measure sounds like this. I got me a stone pony. I got me a stone pony. I got me a stone pony. Play that about 5 times, and then you come back and do it again on the bass run for the 2nd measure. Don't rise shillin' no more. And then that 2nd measure, this lick is less frequent. Don't ride shillin' no more. And then when he says the word more, he plays the top string open. So when you put it together, it's I got me a stone pony, and I don't ride shillin' no more. And that so that's the key ingredient there. This lick actually appears consistently throughout Rattlesnake Blues, which is another song built similarly in the same structure. Alright, so we've got those two parts down, the introduction. I got me a stone pony, don't ride shilling no more. Alright, so we've got that down pat. And for this verse, this is always followed up by like a sort of transitionary figure that bridges the 1 chord and the 4 chord position. And this transitioning figure is going to sound like this. He plays, I'll lead into it. Ride shilling no more. That's that part that comes after that. And he plays this part over and over throughout the song. And this is pretty straightforward and easy. So what we're doing here, it's this portion. This is basically a combination of 8 notes built around an open bass note. The top string usually kicks it in. You let that ring, and the rest are going to be played with double stops. So now the thumb is going to come down to the 3rd string on the right hand, and the index finger is going to pluck the bottom string of the corresponding note. So you're going to have this pinch double stop. You're pinching together with the right hand, playing the double stop. You're not playing the 2nd string at all. You're just playing the bass and the bottom string. Bass and the treble string together. Alright, so the 8 notes happening here is going to first play the top string open. Alright, and the 2nd note, the thumb comes down and plays the 3rd string open along with the bottom string open together. So as it's played as a pinched double stop. So this is the next note. 3rd string, 1st string open. Then you take the 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 3rd string, and 3rd fret bottom string, and do the same with the double stop. You finger that, and then you slide over into the 4th fret, maintaining the same fingering. 3rd string, 4th fret, bottom string, 4th fret. So the first 4 notes are like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So top bass and then double stops. So those are the first 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he plays the top string open again to play the other portion of that. And this part sounds like this. Top string open for that first note in that sequence. And then you play the 3rd string and bottom string open together as a double stop. Then you're going to play the 3rd string on the 2nd fret and the bottom string on the 2nd fret as a double stopped, pinched. And then the final note in that sequence is you're going to move over to the 1st fret, 3rd string, and then play the bottom string open instead of bottom string, 1st fret. Bottom string open and 1st fret, 3rd string. So it's like an E. So the 4 notes sound like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 8 notes together sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll go really slow again. It'll sound like this. So those are the 8 notes. And then the second measure, he plays a top string open and then plays strums of the E major chord towards the top of the strings, not necessarily the bottom two strings are being played. So when you put it together, it sounds like this. So it's just strums of the E major chord follow. So there's a lot happening here in these instrumental breaks. All right. So let's recap what we've learned so far. We'll put it together to get us to this point so far. So the introduction begins with the E major chord. I got me a stone pony, don't ride chillin' no more. Alright, so let's take a little break, and now we're going to move into the 4-chord position slot, which is also pretty tricky in its own right. Okay, so moving on into the song, we talked about the first verse where he's like, don't ride chillin' no more. And then this next part, it sounds like this. I got me a stone pony, don't ride chillin' no more. I got me a stone pony, don't ride chillin' no more. Alright, so that's what we'll look at here. So in this part, it's a little bit tricky. So it's kind of like a mini arpeggio on an unnamed diminished chord, what's happening here. So here in this verse, this sequence, it sounds like this. It's like a diminished is what it sounds to me. And it's a lot of what's happening in the song is revolving around the 5th, 6th, and 8th frets. There's a lot happening here. And to play this combination is where he's sort of singing in here, but it's again kicked in with a bass combination. Instead of this, all he's doing is playing the top string open followed by the 5th string open. And then you follow it up with this succession of 3 notes, which sound like this. So when you put it together, it's like this. I got me a stone pony, I got me a stone pony. Alright, so this 3-note combination, I guess 5 notes in all. You have the top string open, 5th string open. Alright, and then you're going to play, for the 3rd note, you'll play the 3rd string on the 6th fret. And then you come down to the 2nd string, 5th fret. Followed by the 2nd string, 8th fret. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the first 5 notes are like this. I got me a stone pony, I got me a stone pony. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, he plays that portion. And then he plays this top 2 strings, again, the 6th and the 5th string. And then he plays this pinched lick on the 7th and 8th fret again that we learned in the first verse. Don't ride chillin' no more. Yeah, so when you put it together from the beginning, it sounds like this. Got me a stone pony, don't ride chillin' no more. Then you end again with the more on the top string open or whatnot. So again, he's reverting back to the 7th and 8th fret. Don't ride chillin' no more. So that's a pretty tricky part because you're not much of this music is written here. Strange arpeggio, which I don't really hear many artists utilize. But it's something that Patton is doing here, much different from his other songs in the key of E. Alright, so I will recap. It's I got me a stone pony, don't ride right chillin' no more. So we got that down, and this is followed up by instrumental kind of transitionary piece. Sounds like this. It's again getting into this territory of E major chord strums. So the part that follows after this, don't ride chillin' no more. And that's what we'll play here. So what you're going to do is finger an E major chord, and you're going to play the top string open. And then your pinky is going to come up while you're holding this E major chord. Your pinky is going to come up and play the third string on the second fret. Alright, so you'll play one. So that's going to be a key maneuver there. Alright, but before you do that, the first note in this sequence is basically a 4-note sequence. You play the top string open, and then you, with the index finger on the right hand, while you're holding an E major chord, you flick up once, play the E major chord, 1, 2, then the pinky comes up and plays the second fret third string, and then you take that pinky off and play the E major chord again. So there's 4 notes, sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, suspension, E major is what he does there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he goes back to the top string open. He lets that ring a little bit, and then he comes down to the 5th string, 2nd fret, and then back to the top string open. And this is the crucial, I have it highlighted, I have it circled here in the ebook. This bass note that's happening on the top string and the 5th string is sort of like resets the timing. It recalibrates the song as it continues. And it's a very crucial element to this song. So when you put the pieces together, it's this portion. 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by top string open. Then the 5th string, 2nd fret. Let that ring out for a while and end on the top string open. So you have 7 notes in all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's this space between this note on the 5th string, but it's a very crucial element in the song that reappears over and over throughout the song. Alright, so once he gets past this measure is followed up by more strums of the E major chord, followed by that break. And then the next 2 measures is also broken up by this 5th string, 2nd fret. Alright, so when we put all the pieces together with this 4-chord position, it sounds like this. Got me a stone pony, don't ride chillin' no more. Is how the song continues. Again, you're filling up the gaps with strums of the E major chord. Alright, so next he locks in the 5-chord position, sort of like where the B7 chord should be. The next portion we'll cover in. Let's take a little break and we'll cover this pretty intense portion of the 5 chord in the song. Alright, so continuing on, we're now going to look at the 5 position of the song, which is very difficult in its own right. So continuing on, we last looked at this. No right, chilling no more. And then it leads into this part. You can find my baby, hooked to my baby's door. Alright, so we'll cover this portion. Now, what leads into this portion is really difficult. It's the 5 chord slot. It wants to be a B7 chord, but it isn't necessarily it. The only commonality here is that you're playing the root of a B7 chord. He leads into this portion. This portion that sounds like this. You can find my pony. You can find my pony hooked to my baby's door. Alright, this portion. You can find my pony is a combination of this key bass lick followed by these a continuation of these double stops happening on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fret. Alright, so to lock that in, you have this elongated and even this pause in between. This is all happening on the 5th string. So the first 2 notes of this block here is going to be the 5th string, 1st fret, and then you're going to slide into the 5th string, 2nd fret, the root of a B7 chord. You can find my pony. You can find my pony. It's this powerful execution of these 2 bass notes. You introduce this measure to the first 2 notes, and then it's followed up by this chromatic run-up of double stops, again, which we talked about. You take the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and bottom string, 2nd fret, play that as a double stop, and you slide into the 4th fret, starting for the 2nd fret. So it's 1, 3rd fret, 4th fret, and in the 4th fret, he stays there for a little bit. So when you put it together, the bass notes are like this: 1, 2, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, and then the thumb comes up and plays the top string open. You play this sort of fragmented notion there. So we can count it out, all the individual notes. You have 8 in all, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then over the 4th fret, this double stop, I play the top string open with that. Is what he's doing there. So it's going to take a few tries, but this reappears throughout the song, so it's something to get good down pat. So again, it's the 5 chord position, but it's not really playing a B7 chord per se. You're just continuing with these double stops. One argument is you could say it has elements of a St. Louis turnaround. could say that it incorporates some of that element into it. But again, let's move off of that. And then it leads into this boogie woogie portion. Very unique lick here that Charley Patton is doing. Something so different from his other songs. So basically what he's doing is he has this wind down that sounds like this. Hook to my baby's door. Hook to my baby's door. When you put it together, these two parts at the ending, the two endings sound like this. You can find my baby, hook to my baby's door. Hook to my baby's door. Alright, and to order to activate this, what you hear in the original recording is played kind of loosely. It's not as intact. But to play this portion, what you're going to do is, on the right hand, the thumb is going to play the 5th string open, and your index finger is going to come and play the 2nd fret 4th string. You're going to play that together. It's like a boogie woogie rhythm. So he's incorporating some of that into there. So that's that first portion, is the combination of these two strings. Hooked, that's the first note. Then the pinky comes up and plays the 4th fret 5th string. And then your index finger is going to play the 4th string open. You play this piece. So it's 1, 2, and then you shift over for that third note. It's going to be the 5th string 2nd fret and the 4th string open. Again, incorporating this kind of boogie woogie feel to it. So the first 3 notes are like this. 1, 2, 3. Hook to my. Hook to my. 1, 2, 3. And then it's followed up by something like this. And to do that, this part is a little slower, and then it leads into this. And to do that, you play this kind of lick happening on the 5th string. You play that once, and then pull in, hammer on to the 5th string 2nd fret. And then follow that up with playing the 4th string open. 1, 2, 3. And then what you'll do is play a double stop combination to cap off this. And that will be played on the 4th string 2nd fret with the index finger on the right hand, and then the top string open. Play that twice. So when you put this lick together, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then end with the top string open. So this portion from the beginning sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hook to my baby's door. Hook to my baby's door. And that's that. This portion is where he says baby's door. Baby's door. Hooked into my baby's door. So that's a little tricky part there. The ebook has it nicely laid out, everything. If you guys are tablature readers, life is so much easier with this book. Alright, so when we put these portions together, these two endings, they're going to reappear throughout the song. So it's good to get this down pat now. We'll play it together. So, you can find my baby, hooked to my baby's door. So those are the two distinct endings. Very important in the song. All right, and so when this figure wraps up, look to my baby's door, he reverts back to this ending. Which we already talked about. This 8-note combination of double stop. And then this is followed up by this sequence. And this is always used to as a bridge between stanzas. This combination happening where it's the 3 bass notes. You're resetting the timing. Wraps up the first stanza. We still have quite a bit to go in this song because every stanza is constructed differently, but a lot happening in this song. That's why it took me a month to transpose it. Alright, so let's take a little break and we'll look at the second stanza. Alright, so moving along into the second stanza, Patton is doing something a little bit differently. He's now stretching over to the 12th fret bottom string, and he's playing these sort of runs based on the bottom string. A melodic run only situated on the bottom strings. On the bottom string over the 12th, 9th, and 7th frets. And this is going to appear in this second stanza, and the final 2 stanzas will be played like this. And it's achieved like this. Pittsburgh's my pony, Greenville is my gray mare. Pittsburgh, my pony, Lord is my green mare. Alright, so this is really straightforward and easy. So what you want to do is, once you're leading into this with the E chord, when you go into the next stanza, he's always sitting on an E chord. And this is where he begins his singing. Pittsburgh's my pony, Greenville is my gray mare. And to do this, when you're in the middle of the word Vicksburg, you're playing the bottom string on the 12th fret. And however you want to play that, it's up to your interpretation. But he plays about eight kind of 8th notes in succession on the 12th fret. Pittsburgh's my pony, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pittsburgh's my pony. And then when he goes into the word Greenville, he's now going to the 9th fret bottom string. Greenville is my gray. And then when he gets into the words gray mare, he goes to the 7th fret bottom string. Gray. And then finally the word mare, R-E at the word mare is the bottom string open. So it's 12th, 9th fret, 7th fret, bottom string open. Pittsburgh's my pony, Greenville is my gray mare. Pretty straightforward and easy. So he plays that portion. Greenville's my pony, Greenville is my gray mare. Alright, so he plays the bottom string and then he plays the top string open periodically, and then he's gonna play this kind of jumbled succession of E minor and E major chords, only focusing on the top 4 string. And to do this, you'll have a series of 6 strums happening here, and then they're sets of 2 strums. So the first strum is an E minor and an E major chord. Then the next 2 strums are E major, and then E minor, E major. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. that happens after this. Green bill is my gray mare. Alright, so it's this jumbled chords happening here. And then while you're holding an E major chord, you're gonna pick out and play these accents happening on the words Vicksburg, my pony, Vicksburg, my pony, Vicksburg, my pony, Vicksburg, my pony. And it's just these kind of accents happening here over the words. My pony. And to do that, it's a combination of 3 notes. You're holding an E major chord with the left hand, and you're going to pluck, again, this lick happening on the 3rd string, this pull-off lick. 3rd string open, and then pulling, hammering onto the 1st fret 3rd string. Followed up by the top string open. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Vicksburg, my pony, Vicksburg, my pony, Vicksburg, my pony. Something like this. Vicksburg, my pony, is what he's doing there. And then he goes back to this ending which we talked about. Green Lordy is my great man. And he goes, so the way I have that tapped out is you're just bridging the 2 endings there with the double stop and the boogie woogie rhythm. Greenville Lordy is my green man. And then followed up by this. Strums on the E major chord with this resetting of the timing, this key bass note happening on the 5th string, 2nd fret. Alright, so let's kind of continue where we began from the beginning. So it's Vicksburg's my pony, Greenville is my gray man. Vicksburg, my pony, Greenville Lordy is my black man. So again, it's this boogie woogie, double stop, and then it's followed up by this strums of the E major chord preceded by this. So it happens that earlier on in the onset of this stanza, the endings appear earlier on, right? Alright, so then he continues into the 5 chord position, and this is the part where it says, you can find my stone pony down in Lula town somewhere. So again, it's this 5 chord position, back to the boogie woogie rhythm, down in Lula town somewhere, to the double stops. Alright, so we've got that down. Alright, so let's continue it from the beginning, because I know there's a lot happening here. So for the start of the 2nd stanza, again, it's playing the notes on the 12th fret, and it sounds like this. Pittsburgh's my pony, Greenville is my gray man. Greenville, my pony, Greenville Lordy, my gray man. You can find my pony down in Lula town somewhere. Alright, so we've got that down, and we'll continue on here. So yeah, he plays that portion, and then it's the ending of the stanza. It goes back to this combination. That caps off the 2nd stanza. So When we play the whole thing out, it's Green my pony, Greenville, my great man. Green my pony, Green Maloney, my black man. You can find my pony out in Lula town somewhere. Again, it's this portion to end the second stanza. Alright, so a lot happening there again, but again, those two key endings are appearing. Alright, so now we're going to look at the third stanza, which is the key signature lick that sounds like this. That's the very quintessential Stone Pony blues lick happening. And we'll look at that there because it's going to take a little while to explain that. It's very difficult. Stick around, we'll look at the third and fourth stanzas. Alright, so now we're headed into the third and fourth stanzas. And I promise you that you're going to be practicing these 3-4 stanzas the most because they are the most difficult parts in the song. And I'm going to go ahead and play these. So leading last from the second stanza. Well, I got me as a stone pony, don't ride a shell no more. Got me a stone pony, don't ride shellin' no more. So it's this portion is that we'll be looking at here. Alright, so the first stanza so this is going to be, again, like a mini arpeggio on this unnamed diminished chord happening on the 8th and 6th frets. Alright, and it's going to be a combination of to play the arpeggio is a combination of 6 notes. And what you have to do in order to play this arpeggio, what you're going to do with the left hand, the index finger is going to come and play the 3rd string on the 6th fret. The pinky is now going to come up, pinky or the ring finger is going to come and play the 2nd string on the 8th fret. 1, 2. And this is how you'll lock in this fingering with the left hand, and the thumb and the index finger are going to play this arpeggio. I play it all with the index finger, it seems like. Alright, so while you lock in this position, again, this is imperative that you're holding down the 3rd string 6th fret, 2nd string 8th fret. Right? So now you're going to play this arpeggio, winding arpeggio, mini arpeggio, and it's also going to incorporate the bottom string open. So you're only focusing on these bottom 3 strings, and the bottom string open is also going to be included. So you start this arpeggio of these 6 notes first with the 2nd string 8th fret. Then you go down to the 1st string, open string at the bottom string. 1st string open. 1, 2. And now you jump all the way up to the 6th fret 3rd string for the 3rd note. And then you come down to the 8th fret 2nd string for the 4th note. So the first 4 notes are like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 5th note is going to be open. And then you come all the way back up to the 6th fret 3rd string for that final and 6th note. So in all, the 6 notes are like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I will count out the name of the string, first, second, and third string in this arpeggio. So it's second string, first string, third string, second string, first string, third string. Second, so from the beginning it's second string, first string, third string, second string, first string, third string. I got me a stone pony, me a stone pony. And again, this fingering on the left hand is so crucial. Got me a stone pony. Alright, so those are the imperative 6 notes. It's going to take you a while to get it down pat, because you're jumping between the strings. I'm playing it all with the index finger in the right hand. Alright, so you have those 6 notes established, and right after they're done playing, he plays the top string open twice. And the timing's got to be right. And so he plays that around 3 measures, and this is in the part where he's singing. I got me a stone pony, don't ride shilling no more. I got me a stone pony, don't ride shilling no more. Alright, so now I'm going to go really slow and see if you can follow along. So these 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, and I'll count it out this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so he does that 3 times. Well, we can move off of this already, but playing that arpeggio while singing is going to be probably the base of most of your study on this song. So it's got me a stone pony, don't ride Shelley no more. Plays that 3 measures, and then he plays the top string open, and then he resolves with the pinched lick on the 7th and 8th fret over 4 notes. And that's the final and 4th measure. So from the beginning it's got me a stone pony, don't ride Shelley no more. So that's the end. That's that 4th measure, and it ends that 1st verse. Alright, so moving forward, he then plays something even more complicated in the 4th position. So the next verse will sound like this. I got me a stone pony, I got me a stone pony, don't ride Shelley no more. And this portion, again, he's playing an arpeggio on a diminished, unnamed chord, happening on the 5th, 6th, and 8th frets. Alright, and to play this figure, it's going to be a combination of 8 notes happening. You lock in with the top string open, and then into the 5th string open. 1, 2, and then you're going to play these notes. It's a continuation of what we learned in the very first stanza. Alright, and to play this measure, it's going to sound like this. So the first 2 notes are these these open bass strings, and then the third note you come and play the 6th fret 3rd string, then you play the 2nd string 5th fret, then the 8th fret 2nd string, 1, 2, 3, then you come back to the 5th fret 2nd string, and end on the 6th fret 3rd string. So the first 8 notes sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sixth fret, 5th fret, 8th fret, 5th fret, 6. And this is the part where he sings, I got me a stone pony, got me a stone pony, got me a stone pony. Alright, so that's that portion. Again, it's a diminished, unnamed chord. Got me a stone pony. And then it's followed up by this, don't ride shilling no. You're back to this pinched lick on the 7th and 8th fret. Don't ride shilling no more. Alright, so to recap, from the absolute beginning of this stanza, we'll go ahead and play it. Got me a stone pony, don't ride shilling no more. Got me a stone pony, don't ride shilling no more. So that's happening in that stanza. A lot to behold, and I guarantee you that you will spend the most time on this part of the song. Took me a damn near week to get that arpeggio down, alright? So moving forward in the song, he, after this portion, he plays this. Again, this combination with the suspension chord, and then strums. This resets the timing back to strums of the E major chord. And then he continues with this, and I can't feel welcome, right, no matter where I go. And you just continue the ending of these stanzas by replaying that boogie woogie and then double stop combinations. Alright, so we'll continue on in the next stanzas here. Let's take a little break and we'll wrap up the final remaining stanzas happening here. There's a lot happening in this song. Alright, so regarding the 4th stanza, we start this off. It's basically a carbon copy of the 3rd stanza. Alright, so in the previous portion we looked at Jackson on a high hill, mom, don't ride shilling no more. We learned about this. Jackson on a high hill, mama, don't ride shilling no more. Right? We talked about that, and this is going to reappear again in the 4th stanza, in the stanza that starts off with like this: Vicksburg on a high hill, Natchez just below. Continues with the same. Vicksburg on a high hill, Natchez just below. And I can't feel welcome, right, no matter where it is I go. So a carbon copy of the previous stanza. So the Natchez on the high heel is the arpeggio, and then the 4th position is Vicksburg on a high heel, the pinched lick, and then the suspension. to the 5 chord position. And I can feel welcome, right on, no matter where it is I go. So that's that 4th stanza. And continuing on in the song. For the 5th and the 6th stanzas, Patton is going back to what we learned in the 2nd stanzas. And that is, he continues with, well, I didn't come here, steal nobody's brown. I didn't come here, steal nobody's brown. I just stopped here, well, from keep somebody stealing mine. So he continues with that, and you keep going. That's the end of that stanza. And then the final, absolute final stanza is, he continues with, hello Central, what's the matter with your line? Hello Central, matter with your line. Continues with that. So it's pretty much straightforward. We're repeating the concepts illustrated thus far for the final 2 stanzas. So the 2nd, the 5th, and the 6th stanzas are all constructed the same. The 3rd and the 4th stanza constructed the same. Really, the 1st stanza is different from the rest, but a lot happening. But we've tackled all of the parts individually, and so there's nothing more to discuss. So that final stanza, I guess, in its total completion sounds like this. Hello Central, what's the matter with your line? Hello Central, matter with your line. Came a storm at night and tore this whole wire down. And the final song, the final ending of the song appears like this. He goes from the 5th string 2nd fret, goes to the 3rd fret, and slides all the way, 3rd fret bottom string, and he slides all the way to the 12th fret bottom string to end the song for good. So that's something to take note there. Alright, so I know this is a long, grueling lesson, but I'm glad if you've gotten this far with me, this song is going to be very easy. It's something I had to do. Believe me, the other lessons with this ebook are not going to be as long, but there is a lot happening here, and what we learn here is going to show up in Rattlesnake Blues. Alright, so if you wanted to follow back with Charley Patton, learning what you learned here, you've got the semitone adjustment. Go ahead, put the capo on the 1st fret, so you'll be in the standard F plus tuning, and this is where you'll sound like Charley Patton if you wanted to play along with him. Drinking on a high mama, that you just below. Next on a high hill, that you just below. I didn't pay to deal, you'll steal nobody's brown. Make sure you got that capo happening on the 1st fret if you wanted to go back and listen to the original recording. So thank you again for sitting along with this grueling lesson. There is a lot happening here. That's why I needed to take the time. So we're almost done wrapping up all of the songs that feature from this ebook. If you haven't already, definitely download the ebook. Check it out on my ebook store. The link is in the information settings. Definitely subscribe to me on YouTube as I continuously post videos. Like me on Facebook. There's a lot of action that I do on Facebook at Delta Lu Music. I always post things that I'm working on, things that are happening, and I'm also working on a big volume of Charley Patton's work on slide guitar tuning. Rare, never before transposed works are all in the works. I've got it down pat. So again, this is Delta Lu, and thank you for following along. I hope you enjoy this lesson.